eternal life is not a futuristic thing. It's a past, present, and future thing. Right. It's a now. God's outside of time, so his life is always in the present. And so eternal life is not a futuristic thing. So I gathered that you're saying that, and you're seeing that that's not the truth. And I would encourage you to go back. I know I say a bunch of things and I say them real fast, and it can be hard to digest all of them. But I would encourage you to go back and listen to this, because there's about 10 minutes where I go into what brings forth the fruit of God's life in this earth, right? And I think I just preached a message called Animated with Grace, where I talk about what animates us with the grace of God. And so just like you eat food to receive strength, when you feed on the word of life and you talk with God about the word of life, and your imagination is filled with the word of life and all that is contained in that life, it brings forth the fruit of the Spirit in you today, right? It fills you with a hope. John would come and say that hope will purify your heart from fear. It would come and say that your grief, when you feel grief, eternal life is not you're going to get to the place where you don't ever feel grief again. You're never going to see death and be happy that you see death. Right. God is God, and he wasn't happy when he saw death. Right. Okay? So I think for a lot of people, and I know for myself included, I was heaping grief on myself, judging myself as unrighteous or coming behind, because I hadn't gotten to the place where nothing bothered me anymore. Well, eternal life is not that nothing will bother you anymore. What it is that when you encounter the fruit of death and you feel grief about that, your grief won't turn into despair. Your grief will be turned back into joy, or joy will swallow your grief, because you'll fellowship with God about the mercy that's in his heart, like we were talking about, or your fellowship with God about the fact that you're braided together with his life, and how his life overcomes death, and that will make you happy again, right? Yeah. I know for me, I had this idea that I'm going to believe perfectly one day, and once I get that right, then nothing's ever going to bother me. But then what I did was, that was all the time judging me. Sure. Every time I had a negative emotion, I would judge myself negatively. And then that made it worse. I gotta say, when God plucked that judgment out of me, when I stopped doing that, those things that used to bother me, they got shrunk. My heart disesteemed them. It started counting them as un petit. It started saying, like Paul said, for this light affliction. Right? Yeah. What happened is the eternal life that I had with God grew like a big giant. And the trouble that's in the world got shrunk down like a little puny nothing. Right? And then your strength is returned. That's right. Right?